What is happening, Crocodile? My name is Drei and welcome back to another video. If you're into some cool outfit photos, some coffee brewing, or generally just some wacky stuff, then do follow me on my Instagram. It's at justplaindrei, and I'll be leaving a link in the description box below as well. If you're not subscribed yet, come on, man, why aren't you subscribed yet? Click the subscribe button and be part of the Crocodile Squad. What? Crocodile Squad? Crocodile Squad! And also don't forget to click that little notification bell so you can be updated every time I upload a new video. And on today's video, we're going to be taking a look at another budget manual coffee grinder, the Hero S01. Now, after releasing my review on the Timemore C2, some people did start asking me about this grinder and whether or not I was going to review it. Now, obviously, already owning a Timemore C2, I didn't really have a reason to go out and buy another grinder just for the sake of reviewing it. But as luck would have it, a local company / roaster, Wide Awake PH, does carry the Hero S01 grinder, and they were kind enough to send me over one for review. Now, with that being said, of course, as you already know, whether or not something is sent to me, while I am grateful and thankful for that, as with everything on my channel, I will be sharing my 100% complete and honest opinion on it. So both pros and cons, if any, will be mentioned here as well. We're going to be taking a look at overall aesthetics, build quality, user interface, and of course, overall performance. And of course, because I know you guys are going to ask for it, I'm going to be doing some comparisons with the Timemore C2 as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. There are two versions of the Hero S01, a black one and a silver one. As you can see, I did get the silver one, mainly because of the simple fact that I think it just looks cooler than the black one. Now, don't get me wrong, the black one looks good as well. But for the aesthetics of this thing, I think the silver one works really well and complements the faux wood knob really well too. Speaking of aesthetics, I think the body itself looks really nice, and it definitely caught my eye when I first saw it. I like the facets on the body here. It definitely does give a nice texture to the overall look and does provide a little bit more grip as opposed to a fully smooth body. And the silver, I think, looks really nice and is really well done too. And branding wise, you get a little Hero logo right here. Now, I will say though, this could be a pro or a con depending on your preference, but the body is made out of plastic. To be honest though, I will say it does a really good job at looking like it's made out of metal. Now, just because it's plastic does not mean it's poor quality. In fact, it does have a little bit of weight to it still. It definitely does feel like a hefty, good quality plastic. It feels good in the hand, and again, the silver finish is really nice, and I haven't had any problems with this silver finish at all. Like I said, the fact that it's plastic could be both a pro or a con. Some people might prefer the lighter weight body, while some people might prefer a little bit of a heavier metal body. And of course, it being plastic, you don't really run the risk of it denting if you drop it or something, which some people have had happen to them with their metal bodied grinders, like the Timemore C2 for example, with some even denting it to such a way where they can't use it anymore. But then again, it really shouldn't be much of a factor if you just don't drop your grinder. I know accidents happen, but still, man, just take care of your stuff, don't drop your grinder, be careful with it. Other plastic parts on this grinder include the stabilizers, the propellers here, which act both as a spacer and an extra aesthetic flair, the adjusting knob, the main lid of the grinder, and the handle knob here is plastic as well with a wood finish. Now, as I said in my Timemore C2 review, I don't really mind plastic parts, since just like the C2, the plastic parts on here do feel of good quality, and in regular use, don't really experience excessive force anyways. The grounds container just twists like this, and I will say that this is one of the things that I almost immediately noticed the first time I handled this grinder, and that's how smooth it feels twisting the grounds container on and off. Definitely a super satisfying feeling, and this is mainly due to the fact that it is made out of plastic. Honestly, I did find myself doing it a couple more times after I found this out. Capacity wise, it holds about 25 grams of coffee, and then on the bottom you get some Hero branding as well. When it comes to the handle and the lid, I do like how it looks. Now, taking a look at the lid, build-wise, it's a nice thick plastic, and I like this clear material, as it kind of shows the inner workings a bit, which generally is why I'm just a sucker for clear designs. Now, the handle is permanently attached to the lid as well, so do just take note of that if you're planning on storing this grinder with the handle off. The bar here is stainless steel, and it does feel solid, and also does have a relatively ergonomic shape as well. Moving on to the knob, it does spin freely and smoothly, which is nice, and does also have a faux wood finish on it, which I think does look good. And again, it does complement the overall aesthetics of this grinder. It's attached to the bar really securely and is not detachable, so don't try pulling it off. Now, attaching this handle to the grinder does feel secure, and a quick comparison to the Timemore C2, which again, this could be a pro or a con for you, well, depending on your preferences. While it's very smooth to put on and off on the Hero S01, I don't know what kind of mechanism or sorcery this is, but if you tip it over, the lid stays on there. Like, it doesn't fall
fall off. So this is definitely a nice feature. Now, operation-wise, it spins very smoothly, mainly due to the dual ball bearings here. No issues there at all, and I really do like how smooth this is. Now, taking a look at the burrs, we got 38mm stainless steel burrs here, and design-wise, definitely on the aggressive side, and if the burrs look familiar, it's because they are the exact same burrs as the Timemore C2. Here's a side-by-side with the Hero on the left and the C2 on the right. As you can see, pretty much the same burrs, with the only difference being the C2 logo on the bottom here. Besides that, again, the exact same burrs. Well, as far as I can tell. Now, when it comes to adjusting your grind, you do have the adjusting knob here, and what I really do like about this knob is how big it is. Definitely gives you a very solid grip. In comparison to the Timemore, you can definitely see the size difference. You also do get some symbols here to indicate which direction goes finer and which direction goes coarse. And you also do get some numbers on here as well. And personally, it's there if it's a feature you want, but generally for me, I just rely on how many clicks I get. Comparing to the Timemore C2, you just get these simple lines here to indicate each step and click, while again on the Hero you do get some numbers. For me, again, either or is fine, since I mostly just count the clicks. Speaking of clicks, you do definitely get a solid click every time you adjust this grinder. You can really feel it here and hear it as well, so you can easily tell once you've made a click. To adjust to your preferred grind size, make sure you have the lid on, otherwise the adjustment knob will just free spin. Then click all the way to the finest setting and then gradually go coarser from there to count your clicks. Once you've gotten to your preferred setting, it's time to grind. And off the bat, I'll say that you get a pretty good experience. Speed-wise, in my experience, you can grind 16 grams of coffee in about 45 to 50 seconds, and that's at a moderate speed. Now, as someone who owns a Timemore C2, I know this is something that people will be asking about, so here we go. I have to compare the two. In terms of overall grind experience, while the Hero is good on its own right, I do prefer the C2. I think it's a combination of the weightier body and a longer bar on the C2, which provides more leverage physics-wise when grinding, so grinding on the C2 just feels a little bit more effortless. Again, this is not to say though that grinding on the Hero S01 isn't good. It is. I just think that the C2 does it a little bit better. And while I do find myself exerting a little bit more effort when grinding on the S01, I can definitely say that it's still a very pleasant experience. Now, after grinding, you do just get a little bit of static on here, which can be prevented if you just put a drop of water in your beans before you grind them. But in this case, I just use my Timemore brush. Now, quickly, just wanted to point this out. The Hero S01 does come with a brush as well. Kind of reminds me of a chip brush. You know, those brushes you use for painting? I mean, it's fine, but I don't really like using it too much since the one time I tried using it, I ended up getting a brush bristle in my grinds. But altogether, not all too bad a brush, but since I do have the Timemore brush, then I'll just use that. Speaking of grind size, here's what 29 clicks on the Hero S01 looks like.
Okay, now this is where things get a little interesting. The Hero S01 can grind really fine. To give you some context, on my Timemore C2, my preferred setting for pour over is about 17 clicks, and in order for me to get a similar grind size on the Hero S01, I have to go to about 29 to 30 clicks, which is crazy. I still remember putting it on 17 clicks, grinding, and just coming out with this really fine grind, and it was super perplexing to me. And I will say, of course, this was definitely a change of pace for me, but I can definitely see how this could be a really good feature for you, since it does kind of allow you to control and kind of fine-tune your grind settings a little bit more, because there is a smaller change per click as you adjust it. But also, then again, for those people who prefer a little bit more of a straightforward experience and don't really want to do that much fine-tuning, then maybe this could be a little bit hassle for you, or at least a little bit of a different experience, just a little bit more work.
So as you can see here, a little bit on the finer side of medium, and as close as I can get to my 17 clicks on my Timemore C2, which is my preferred setting for my pour over. And as you can see here, a pretty darn uniform grind here. But again, also as expected, just like the Timemore C2, you will get some fines here, but again, altogether, very uniform grind. And I will say that you'll definitely be able to make some good coffee with this thing.
Overall, I do like this grinder. I like the aesthetics of it. You get a good overall user experience, and it makes some good coffee. Now, price-wise, you can get it from By the Wake PH for 2,500 pesos, which is about $50 or so. And of course, in this price range, it will inevitably be compared to the Timemore C2, which here in the Philippines, at least, you can get for about 3,000 pesos or around $60 or so. So as you can see, the Hero S01 does come a little bit more affordable than the Timemore C2. So to the question I know you're all gonna ask, Drei, which one should I get? And honestly, it might sound like a cop-out of an answer, but it really does boil down to personal preference. If a metal body is a must for you, then obviously definitely get the C2. If you want something a little bit lighter, or you feel like you're a total klutz and that you're probably going to be dropping your grinder very often, which you shouldn't be doing. Be careful with your stuff. And you feel like you're gonna dent your grinder, then obviously go with the Hero S01 because again, it does have a plastic construction. Now, I can't guarantee that it won't break if you drop it because obviously I'm not gonna do a drop test, but it for sure won't dent because it's not made out of metal. Now, performance-wise, like I said, they're pretty darn close, with the Hero S01 having the advantage of being able to fine-tune your settings a little bit more. Since again, you do get a little bit smaller of a change per setting per click. So that's definitely a really nice feature, and if that's something you're looking for in a grinder, if you want a little bit more fine-tuning customizability, then the Hero S01 is probably the one for you. But at the end of the day, what's really important is whether or not you can make great coffee with your grinder, and I can definitely say that you can make some really good coffee with either one of these grinders. And that about does it for my review on the Hero S01 and comparison to the Timemore C2. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope I was able to give you guys some ideas or inspiration on whether or not this grinder is the one for you. Now, if you did like this video, then do scroll down and smack that like button. It really does help me out a lot. If you know anybody else who'd like my stuff, your brother, your sister, your lolo, your lola, your tita, your tita, or anybody else who you think would like my stuff, then definitely do share my stuff to them. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Stay creative, keep making it until next time. See you later, crocodile.